Hello, scholars. So I would like to make this video to help you format your research paper in MLA format. You guys have been putting so much work into making this a great paper with great content, and we want to make sure that it looks good as well. All right. So I just took a paper from someone and I messed it up to make it not an MLA format. All right. So please make sure that you set aside about 30 minutes because this is going to be kind of a stop and go. I'll be kind of taking you through the process of making sure that every single detail of your paper is in MLA format. So please set enough time aside to watch this video. Alrighty, so here we go. Here we have it. I'm going to be using this Scribber MLA format guide because that's what you guys should be using in class as well. So a few things right off the bat we need to check for is our font, right? We want to have Times New Roman, size 12. Now this font, it's pretty, but it's definitely not Times New Roman. So what you can do is you can do Control A to highlight the whole text. All right, that'll make sure everything's covered. And you'll want to just change it to Times New Roman. And you'll want to make it size 12. So that makes sure that every single letter in your paper is the same. Alrighty. So we did the first thing. Awesome. Good job, everyone. So coming back over here, we want to also make sure that our margins are 1-inch margins. Now, if you didn't mess with the margins, then it should just be ready to go. It should look like this. If the margins are really small, meaning the text starts over here and ends over here, then you need to make sure that they are 1 inch, okay? And don't mess with it if it looks fine to you, okay? Now, the next thing is we want to have double spacing, okay? So you can do the same thing. You can do Control A, and then you can come over. Sorry, let me make this a bit bigger. You can come over to your toolbar, and you can click on this icon, right? I think it's automatically set to 1.5 if you just start typing. This is what 1.5 looks like. And you're going to want to make sure that it's double so that everything looks like this. It's double spaced. Now, along with the spacing, we want to also make sure that we don't have any massive gaps in our paper. So with the double space, every line is double spaced. So this would be considered like almost a quadruple space, right? So we don't want this. So we want to get rid of all of these gaps in our paper. So please go through your paper. Like here we have 2. Definitely not. You might ask, what about after a paragraph? Nope, we don't do that, right? So please pause the video and go through and do everything. Please check your font size. Please check the font type, your margins, and the spacing to make sure that everything's good. Like I said, pause this video, go through the entire paper. Do not assume that, oh yeah, I remember doing that. No, absolutely not. Because look, what do we have? Ooh, we have some spaces that we need to get rid of all the way at the bottom. So if you did not check for that, well, then those spaces are going to remain, all right? So please go through and check everything. Oh, here's a space. We don't want to have spaces before or after subtitles either. Oh, here's another one. Almost missed it. Here's another one. Get rid of it. All right. Looks like we're good to go. Alrighty, so continuing on, we want to make sure that we indent every single new paragraph. This is something that you guys struggle with. I don't know why, but when you start a new paragraph, please do not do 1, 2, 3 space. No, not like that, right? There's a button. It's called the tab key. Just press it once. It'll give you the appropriate indentation. Again, check every single paragraph to make sure. Oh, here's another one that's not. Okay. So please pause the video, go through your paper, and make sure that every single paragraph is indented. Okay, moving on. The next thing we're looking at is the title case capitalization for headings. Okay, capitalization is another huge thing that you guys need to get better at. Okay, now when you look at the title, right, obviously it needs to be capitalized and the appropriate way. Now, before I even look at the capitalization of this title, I want to make sure I have a good title. How will AI help the health sector of Rwanda? Okay, that might have been kind of my general research question, but that is absolutely not a strong title. Okay, so if your title is your research question, you need to change that. Okay, um, now let's see. This is about AI. It's about the health sector. It's about Rwanda. I want to make sure that my audience can read my title and have a pretty good idea of what's coming. So I'm going to come up with something a bit better. I'm going to call it Journey to Intelligence: How AI Might Be the Next Big Opportunity for Rwanda to Improve the Local Health Sector. So I'm going to write that, right? Journey to Intelligence: How AI Might Be the Next Big Opportunity for Rwanda. Or I could say, to make it a bit more concise, for the Rwandan health sector. Okay, so that's my title, right? And check that grammarly. Okay. Now, please check your title. Pause the video, see if your title is appealing. If it's not appealing, please change it. All right, welcome back. So we are now going to look at the capitalization, right? Now, capitalization, I understand, is a very tricky thing, especially when it comes to understanding what's a proper noun, blah, blah, blah. But for titles, there's very specific rules, right? You're supposed to capitalize the first and last word, no matter what it is, right? And pretty much every single word other than articles, determiners, and prepositions, okay? So I'm going to go through. Journey to is a preposition that doesn't need to be capitalized. And then since this comes right after the colon, no matter what it is, it has to be a capital letter. AI is an abbreviation. Maybe since it's in my title, I want to be more specific. I can use the word artificial intelligence, right? Oh, I didn't spell that right. Might be, okay. Might be is a verb. That's an article. Next, big opportunity for a preposition, the article. Rwandan health sector. Okay, maybe I want to double check. Did I actually spell all these words right? Well, there's a great website that I often ask you guys to use, capitalize this title. You want to click on the MLA, right? Just paste it and it's going to spit it out exactly the way that it should be. Now, let's see. Did we get it all right? Yeah, we capitalized everything correctly. If not, I can just copy and paste this, click on that button, whatever. Anyways, it looks good. Now, the next thing about our title that we have to look at is it should not, I repeat, should not be bolded, okay? It should not be bolded. It should not be underlined. Should not be italicized. Get rid of any of those things. It should be centered. If your title's not centered, some of you guys do this weird thing where you put it over here and you're like, I want to center it, so I'm going to keep pushing, and then I had to go over here, and then it's like not working, and now I'm confused and what. No. There are buttons to help us with these things in this world, so please use them, all right? They're there to help you, all right? So I'm going to go over here and press the center button. All right, please pause this video and make all those changes to the quality of the content of your title, but also the font, format, and capitalization. All right, welcome back. So here we are. We are looking at the next thing that needs to be done. And what is that? The header, the very beginning. We need to make sure our header includes your full name, your instructor's or supervisor's name, the course name, and the due date of the assignment, okay? So this person's name is Billy Bob Smith. I know you guys like doing this. You like making all caps for names. Please don't do that. Just capitalize the first letter of every name and it's going to work out fine, I promise. Now, if you look at what I have here, I have my name, the name of the class, and my teacher's name, right? There's something missing. What's missing? the date. Okay, great. So I'm going to say, what's the due date? Let's say it's due today, December, let's say December 13th, 2022. Okay, great. So the name looks good now. What's supposed to come second? The instructor's name. So please make sure that you're doing the order correctly. Luke Dryling. Is that what you call your professor? No, he usually or she usually has a title. In this case, you can call me Mr. Luke Dryling. All right. Delete this. Or Mr. Dryling. I don't care. Professor Dryling. Whichever works for you. The SOMO Academy Research Writing. This is a proper name. Anytime you have the name of a course, it needs to be capitalized as a proper noun. So SOMO Academy Research Writing is the name of the class, right? So please capitalize that correctly. Now, in the date, if we scroll down to our little example here, we see that there's a specific way to do it, right? 5 September 2020. So we want to put the day, the month spelled out entirely, and then the year. So this isn't going to work for us, right? So I'm going to write 13 December 2022. And I can delete the rest of this one. I just keep spelling things wrong today. Alrighty, and now we have a good looking header. Please make sure you capitalize everything. Literally everything here is either a title or a name or a proper noun. So please look carefully at it. Now you might be tempted to put a space. Please don't. There's no space that needs to go there. All right, see here? No space. Okay. So moving on, what is the next thing that we have to look at? Well, we also have what? A running head, right? That's the page number, okay? So that's where you can click up here, right? And then you get into this space. So please go to Insert, Page Number. You're going to want to click on the one that has it in the top right starting on the first page, all right? And it looks like this. Now you can keep writing here, but keep in mind for MLA format, you need to use your what? Your last name. So in that case, oh no, it's not, that's the professor. It's Smith, right? There's something wrong with this, right? If I look over here, the page number is supposed to come after the name, okay? So please put the cursor before the number, right? Smith, lowercase, and a space. Many of you just leave it like that, and it's like there's no space. That's not paying close attention to the details, right? So put a space. Now there's something else. Our whole paper is in Times New Roman size 12 font. However, I look here, and it's an Arial size 11. So please highlight that, change it to Times New Roman size 12 font, and now it looks good. So when I scroll on to the second page, Smith 2, because it's a running head, and we included page number, so that means it runs all the way throughout the paper. All right. So do we have everything? We have our centered submission date, paper title, everything looks good. Okay. Running head, you shouldn't have to change any of those settings, just do what's automatically. Now, the works cited page is also very important. So the works cited page should be at the end of your paper. Now, many of you just have your works cited page starting right after your last paragraph. No, okay? It needs to be on a new page. So the way to do that, click before the word, all right? Then you can insert, break, page break. And now it's going to start it on the next line. So that means I can just keep typing my paper and it's always going to start on a new page. Okay. Now we go back over here. Our works cited, the title, it is centered. It is not bolded. It is not italicized. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to what? Push center. I'm going to not call it citations, but work. There's multiple works, so it needs to be plural. Cited. And I don't call it page. Nope. Some of you like to put periods at the end of your titles, and I have no idea why. A sentence is what? It has a subject and a predicate. There's no. This is a word. This is two words. It's not a sentence. You don't put periods in your titles, even if it is a sentence. Just don't do that. Okay. Look at any book you've ever read. Do they put periods at the end of the cover? No. Right? Okay, so works cited. Make sure that it's not bolded. All right? Okay, that was a lot. Please pause your video and make all these changes so far? All right, great. Welcome back. Okay, so there's a few things we still have to do to our works cited page, okay? We need to make sure we have hanging, what? Hanging indents. You see this? Hanging indent. That's where the first line starts before the rest of it. So see here, Barnes, and then it goes, and then it starts a little bit under, right? Okay, so we want to make sure that we have that. Well, how do you do that? Some of you have weird formatting. Some of you have like indented like that. No, that's not a hanging indent. What you want to do is you want to highlight all of your works cited, all of your sources, all right? And then you want to go to Format, Align and Indent, Indentation Options. It should say 0, 0, and then you click here to hanging, and it should say 0.5. Please make sure all of those numbers are the same for you. Push apply, and now we have our beautiful hanging indents. Now, the other thing is your works cited page should be in alphabetical order, right? Here we have B, then we have Burns, and then Alexander. Well, in alphabetical order, Alexander should come before Burns, right? So please take the time to go through and put everything in alphabetical. Do I want to leave that space there? No, absolutely not. Okay. So BI comes before BU. Okay. So here we have it. If you have a little dash like this, right? You don't know, then just use the next word. So here it's babbles. Okay. So we have to, BA comes before what? BI. So please make sure that you're being very particular about your alphabetical order. All right. And it should look like this. We have our M's, we have our N's, R's, S, T. Okay. So please pause the video, take time to make your hanging indents look good, get rid of all the spaces, fix the formatting issues, and put your works cited page into alphabetical order. Alrighty, and here we are on the 11th page. Okay. All right. Now, the next thing that we need to look at is our citations. Okay, so please, this is how you get into trouble with plagiarism. Please go through and make sure that every single in-text citation you have is also reflected on the works cited page and vice versa. So you might have taken out a paragraph and you don't need a source anymore. Well, don't keep it on the works cited page. Go and delete it, okay? The other thing is, please, you'll do this when you get your Grammarly report for plagiarism, but please make sure that your in-text citations are also in MLA format, right? The author's last name and then the page number. If there's no page number, you don't need to include it, right? There's all those different rules. Please be very meticulous about it, okay? Go through every single one and double check every single comma, every single space, every single parenthesis, every single quotation mark. Be very particular about this. Please pause the video and go through whatever you need to do. Highlight your sources, highlight your paraphrases, highlight your in-text, whatever you need to do to be very meticulous about this process. Okay, welcome back. You should have paused your video. You should have finished all of that stuff, right? Okay, so the next thing we have is headings and subheadings. If you're writing a 5 or 6 paragraph essay, you're probably not going to have subheadings or headings. You're just going to have a title. Now, for a longer research paper, you're probably going to have different sections, and even within a section, you might have subsections, and that's where you need to use a title, right? So we're going to follow this let me come over to this page. So over here, your paper should look something like this. You should have a title, text, blah, blah, blah. You don't need to put you have your title. Do not put a subtitle right under the title, okay? Your introduction doesn't need to say introduction. If it's the first thing I'm reading, I'm going to assume that it's the introduction. However, maybe you have your introduction, then you want to have some historical context or your first body section. That's where you can indicate this first section with a subheader or a header, okay? And this is a first level heading. First level headings are bolded and flush with the left. They are not centered. They are not underlined, okay? So maybe your first section is causes of malaria, okay? So you're going to call it causes of malaria. Then maybe you have 3 causes. And those are called subheadings, and you want to indicate that with a sub. So maybe cause number 1 will be here, which is the second level heading, right? Which is flush with the left, italicized, and then you can put a period. I know you guys love putting periods. This is your chance to do it, okay? So please do that, all right? And maybe you have cause number 3. What is it? It's still a second level, so you want to use the same formatting. And then you have cause number 3, same second level heading. Then you're done with your first section, and you want to have not causes, but effects. So that is coming back to our first level heading. First level headings are flush with the left side of the page. They're not indented, they're not centered, and they are bolded, and they use the normal capitalization. I don't think I mentioned that earlier. And then you have your effect number 1, effect number 2, effect number 3. You want to indicate that with a second level heading. Many of you probably will not have second level headings. That's fine. It just depends on how you want to organize it, okay? Putting too many headings can get confusing and they can get distracting. So coming back over to our paper, let's do this. All right, so here's my title. It looks good. Notice if you are over here and you put introduction, no, please don't do that. Okay, I just told you not to do that, right? So delete that. So here's our introduction. We're going. Woo, you have your first section and you want to do it like this. No, that's not right, right? What did we learn from before? Well, it shouldn't be underlined. Bolded, yes, but it should be flush with the left. What about, can I push tab? What about that? Can I do that? No. Flush with the left. Now you should follow the same capitalization rules, which means first word, last word, and anything that is not a preposition or an article. Intelligence should be capitalized. In is a preposition, so it does not need to be capitalized. So this is our first level heading, okay? So here's the first section, blah, 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 blah. Okay, challenges in Rwanda's healthcare. This certainly seems like it should be a second section. Okay, so I'm going to treat it as a first level header. Okay, so again, I'm going to what? Not underline it, right? It's going to remain bold. And I want to capitalize it with the same type as any other title capitalization rules. So challenges, yes. In, no. Rwanda, yes. Health, yes. Sector, yes. Okay? That's what it should look like. I'm continuing to scroll. Let's pretend that this, I want to make this a second level header, right? So how do I format this? Okay, so I want to do what? Make it flush with the left. Well, what over here? Second level header, italicized, not bolded with a period. And it's not on it's on the same line as where the text starts, right? So I come back over here. I want to make it what? Italicized, not bolded, put a period, and follow the same capitalization, okay? So pandemic and awakening should be capitalized. Now, something unique about the second level headers is that it is not on its line all by itself. So that means we need to bring this up like that, all right? And now I know when I'm reading this, that this is a subheader, a second level header, all right, that still falls under the category of what? Challenges in the Rwanda's healthcare sector, right? So scrolling, data bias concerns, that seems like a completely different thing, right? So let's make that a third section. Bias, concerns should be capitalized. Should I put a period? No period. Stop with the periods, okay? All right, and now it looks good. Continuing. Recommendations, that's a section of its own, right? So I'm gonna make that a first level header. Should I put a period? No. Should I make it centered? No. Should I make it italicized? No. Ooh. Okay, that's what it should look like. Moving on. Please check all your headers. Final words. All right, well, my words, that in capitalization rules, that should be capitalized, right? So there we go. And that's how we have it. Now you might be tempted, ooh, I want to make this bolded. No, please don't make it bolded, right? We learned that already. Alrighty, so please go through, if you do have any tables and figures, okay, please put those at the end in your appendix. We can talk about that later. But table 1, you guys can use this website to figure it out. In this current document I'm working with, there is none of that, so I can't really show you. But please include that. in the appendix section. All right, so scrolling through, just last minute check for font size, font, bolding, italics, making sure that everything looks good, no gaping gaps or anything like that. Please, guys, I just gave you a lot of information. Okay. Make sure to pause this video, rewind the video, whatever you need to do to make sure that everything is perfect. There's not a lot of things that can be perfect in life, but MLA formatting is something that can be perfect. Okay. You guys have put a lot of work into these research papers. So please go the last 100 meters to make them look good and look presentable. Alrighty. That's that. All right. So thank you for participating. I hope you guys all have some beautiful papers now. Bye.